This is Yakima, Washington. About 80,000 people in the city limits. The Yakima Valley has been called the breadbasket of Washington for its peaches, apples, and hops. But there's another industry that's prospering in Yakima, the industry of abortion. While some cities this size have no or maybe one abortion provider, Yakima has two. And abortion has only expanded here since the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
The marketers of abortion are in it for a profit, and that's why they're marketing and trying to bring women in. People from Idaho, people from the states that are more conservative, and they are becoming a magnet.
In 2012, at nearly 60 years old, Lynette Lindeman started an organization to counter Planned Parenthood and to provide alternatives to women in need.
God just laid it on my heart that this was on His heart for us to develop something and create something that was mobile and something that could be positioned, because I feel like He saw women that we were missing in the other traditional settings.
Together with her board of mostly grandparents, they came up with a cutting-edge mobile van with state-of-the-art equipment that could be positioned anywhere, including right outside Planned Parenthood.
God has positioned us here right next to Planned Parenthood because a lot of times these women, they will need an appointment. They'll go in for an appointment for an abortion and they won't be able to get in, or they'll need a pregnancy test. They won't be able to get in, and they'll see us and they will come over here and be able to get our services here and be able to get hope. One patient that we took care of that I'm thinking back on, she came in determined that she was going to have an abortion. She had already made her mind up, but she just wanted to know how far along she was. So she came in, there was no eye contact, very anxious, scared, just kind of unsure. Had already had an abortion within the last year and was already heading down the path. So I said, well, let's just do an ultrasound. Let's just see how far along you are, and then we can go from there. And after, when we started looking at the baby and just looking at the little heart beating, all of a sudden I started to see a smile on her face. And I started to see where there was fear and anxiety. All of a sudden I saw joy, and she was smiling and she was happy. She still had some concerns and needed some resources that we did provide, and we still are walking with her through this. But when she left here, she left hopeful, and she left much better than when she came in.
ImagePoint had been doing well for 10 years, operating on donations with volunteers or limited staff, saving hundreds of lives. But then financially, things began to change. Along
with, COVID and some of the other things, there was a huge shift, and things just began to shrink financially for us. And November of 2023, the money pretty much ran out.
When the Lord asked me to come and do this job a year ago, I had no idea that in a year that the organization would be in a financial crisis.
That was the dilemma. And as a board, thinking in our own thoughts, had pretty much decided, well, it looks like we're going to have to close the end of November. And so we had determined that by the end of November, we needed a certain amount of money. And I met with the staff the next day, and I just let them know. I was very upfront and said, this is where we're at.
It appeared that if we did not get 50 grand, that our doors would be shutting. And I knew that that was not the Lord's plan, because He was very specific when He called me to this job. And I knew that He would not call me here and then have the doors closed down. And the thought of this not being here next to Planned Parenthood, it was heartbreaking. It felt like Planned Parenthood was winning, and then they wouldn't have to see us here anymore.
With just days before they were scheduled to close, Esther Kay, the administrative assistant, wrote to Elijah Streams explaining the situation and asking for prayer.
We were just waiting, how is the Lord going to do this? But we knew, we were praying, we were fasting, and we were believing the Lord.
With the whole staff fasting and praying, and only a day before shutdown, Lynette was convicted that she was being tested in one more area. She had been a patron of a certain national coffee company for 20 years. This company has a policy of encouraging and paying the travel expenses of employees seeking abortion. perhaps even the women coming to Yakima.
Certain cups and mugs and, things like this, and cleared it all out, gathered it, put it in the garbage. Then within 90 minutes of obeying God about that specific issue, we got notified that a donation in the exact amount of funds that we had set had been provided through Elijah Streams.
ImagePoint was able to cancel their closing and continue services as usual, with just one day to spare.
We actually are thriving again, and it's just such a beautiful thing to see the blessing of God step back right in and pick up as if you never missed a beat.
It's been so rewarding working for this organization, and we're just so grateful. So thank you so much.
ImagePoint Mobile Medical Services has a legacy of serving women and saving lives. Because of your generosity, Elijah Streams viewers are now part of that legacy. Thank you for your help.